Alright, this is 2 Minute Technique, a series where I show you an easy technique you can take away and add to your own writing in just 2 minutes. Today I'm talking about how to introduce characters. How you do this can make the difference between your reader investing in your character and rooting for them from the off, and reading kind of half invested and not really caring what happens to your character. Here's the thing. People identify with people, not story, so avoiding a bland character introduction is essential. But what do I mean by a bland character introduction? Something like this. Let's have a look. On the porch, he saw there was a middle-aged woman. She had noticeable wrinkles on her face and she looked very serious. All of this stuff might be factually correct about this character, but what does it actually tell us about her? In this opening, there's no essence of who this woman might be. We don't really know anything about her or enough to make a judgment other than she looks sort of serious. Who is she? She's a character, not a person. She's on the page instead of on the porch. We need to place her in the scene and give readers enough meaningful information to make a judgment about her. So something like this. He turns and sees a woman leaning on the porch railings, taking a breath. Her face is lined as though old concerns can find her even in the quietest places. You could argue that I've actually said less about the character in this passage, but we've learned more about her. I've also told you where she physically is, which enables you to place her in the scene and see it more clearly in your mind's eye. So now she has more presence and she makes a more pronounced impression. And this is not just for a character's initial introduction, this can be used to introduce them into any scene afterwards. Put them in the moment, don't just idly describe them as this disconnected thing. Connect them to your story by placing them into the environment so that they can interact with it. You can describe them by their physical appearance for sure, but remember to say what that physical appearance says about the character rather than just being how they look. Speaking of introducing characters, yesterday my fellow authortuber Meredith Phillips posted a video showcase of a bunch of different authortubers on her channel. So if you're into videos about the craft of writing and authortube in general, it would be great if you could head to Meredith's channel and check out the video of all these other content creators. Thanks. So let's look at a character introduction from a famous book so we can see how the pros do it. You know what? I know this is 2 Minute Technique, but I think I'm going to have to break the rules for this. Bear with me while I go back in time for a second. That's better, much more time to talk about writing. So, what was I saying? The introduction of a very famous character. I'm referring to one Harry James Potter. He's a star of his own series, obviously the central character, but for the first 10 pages or so of the first book, he's hardly even mentioned at all. Then comes the first mention of his name. The Potters, that's right, that's what I heard. Yes, their son Harry. This dialogue is overheard from some weird cloaked people in the street that we know nothing about, so what's the effect of this? What does a character introduction like this do? It builds our interest, it builds tension, it makes us wonder about him. We've read the front cover, we already know this book is about him, and now we're wondering what's so special about the kid. But in case we didn't know there was something special about him, the first time his name is mentioned lets us know in no uncertain terms that he's special. Vernon Dursley is actually the main character for the first chapter of Harry Potter. He's the most boring, strictly ordinary, very bland character you could ever come across. Anything even slightly abnormal is offensive to him and frightening. So what's his reaction to this first mention of Harry's name? Mr. Dursley stopped dead. Fear flooded him. We haven't even seen Harry at this point, and we already know he's the antithesis of ordinary. He already has his own hype men, and they're weird and cloaked and rejoicing in the streets. It makes Harry Potter seem like some kind of messiah, and I know the comparisons have been made. So what can we take from this? Your character introductions don't just start from when a character enters the room. If you want to build up tension and interest about your character, have other characters talk about them long before they ever appear on the page. Have their name and face on a wanted poster, or mention their name in an emergency broadcast. Overall, don't forget to give your characters a head start. Don't just introduce them, bring them to life. Let them kick the doors of your story wide open. My aim with this channel is to support other writers and help them develop their writing as I develop mine. I want to help you tell your best story, so if that sounds like it might be useful to you, hit the subscribe button below for 2 more videos like this every week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.